What a child can see sitting at the top of a tree, an elder can see sitting down. We commemorate every year of our lives with a celebration or acknowledgement of some sort, while at the same time dreading the prospect of getting older. How is it that we're able to hold these two conflicting ideas at the same time? My name is Alafia Oluwasogo. Today we're going to be discussing cultural attitudes towards aging and the effects that they have on healthcare. In the United States, like much of the Western world, we see aging as a thing to be dreaded past a certain point in our lives. We don't see it as a positive experience, but rather as a negative one, a descent, if you will. We see our youth instead as a more positive thing. We associate all the goodness in our lives with our younger years, as though the world is open to us only when we're young and closes as soon as we hit a certain age. Youth represents beauty and vigor. Old age represents frailty and deteriorating mental states. When we look at common representations of elderly people in media, such as the one on the screen, we don't see strength and upward mobility. Instead, we see frailty and stagnation. Whereas when we look at portrayals of youthful people in media, we see people that exude strength, confidence, people that are ready to take over the world. The modeling and skincare industries are notorious for monetizing this image of young people. In 2024, the U.S. skincare market was valued at $30.24 billion and was projected to reach at least $40 billion by 2031. While the skincare industry encompasses a wide variety of products that aren't limited to anti-aging creams alone, one has to wonder why anti-aging creams are so prominent in commercial media. What's wrong with looking older? A Colorado State research article stated that Western cultures tend to have more youth-centered societies that place value in young adults rather than older adults. This way of thinking stems from Protestant values that tie an individual's worth to their ability to work and be an active member of society. Could it be that simply looking the part is enough to get some sort of recognition for our capabilities, even when we haven't demonstrated any? If this is true, then it must also be that simply looking old is enough to imply some sort of physical or mental incompetence levels. Contrast this with many other cultures across the globe, and we can see that elders are given reverence due to the assumption of competency. That is, their age proves that they possess wisdom and they are to be respected because of it. In southwest Nigeria, young people always kneel down or prostrate when greeting their elders. To not do so is a sign of disrespect. Positions of governance are mostly occupied by the senior members of society, as it is believed that their understanding far surpasses that of those younger than them. In the same vein, autonomy is not only expected, but required of these senior members of society, as they are in fact the heads of the societies that they live in. It is because of this that nursing homes and retirement communities are few and far in between in southwest Nigeria. As senior members age and lose the ability to do things that they were once able to do on their own, their children either take them in or the community surrounding them pitch in order to help that person. Now, I want to be very clear. There is nothing wrong with a nursing home or an assisted living community. In fact, in some circumstances, these may be the best living accommodations for certain elderly individuals. But there is something to be said about these elderly individuals giving up autonomy in a society where they are not valued the way that they should be in order to ensure that they have the best health and living situations that they can possibly have. A 2022 study done by the JAMA Network using the Everyday Ageism scale showed that more than 9 out of 10 adults ages 50 to 80 years in the nationally representative NPHA sample reported experiencing one or more forms of everyday ageism, that is, discrimination based on age, regularly. Furthermore, odds of negative health outcomes nearly doubled with every single additional incidence of everyday ageism. There was also an increase in the number of chronic health conditions. This is believed to be due to the fact that ageism may hamper the quality of older adults' interactions with healthcare clinicians. Ageist cues, beliefs, and interpersonal interactions may serve as stereotype threats, primes for stereotype embodiment, and models of normative expectations for older adults. It's believed that everyday ageism may also be a chronic stressor that invokes this biological stress response for older adults. However, the inverse is also true. Older adults that are in poor health may actually experience more instances of everyday ageism. Further, the awareness of discrimination based on age, just like the term ageism itself, is a relatively new phenomenon that's only emerged within the past 3 decades. Visibility is higher than it was before, and healthcare professionals, as well as those affected by ageism, are well aware of the fact that it does indeed exist. However, scholarship is relatively low when compared to other forms of discrimination such as racism and sexism. People are aware of this issue, but how do we solve this issue? What steps can we take to lessen the impact of ageism on our senior populations? I believe the next step in this evolution is revolution. Revolution of the mind and revolution of the mouth. We need to confront these deeply entrenched cultural values that make us believe that aging is a negative process. And I believe the way that we can do this is by first changing our perspective on life itself, then recalibrating our language to reflect our new perspective. We need to come from a place of appreciation. We need to understand that life occurs in stages, and every stage has its benefits and its drawbacks. We must emphasize the benefits of aging as much as we acknowledge the drawbacks. We must understand that we will all be senior members of society one day. Therefore, it is beneficial for us to see our senior members right now as people also experiencing this phenomenon we call life alongside us, instead of thinking their time is up and leaving them. We must become more comfortable with change and not be so quick to demonize it just because it doesn't look or feel the way that we expected it to. The United States is a melting pot of cultures, so why can't we take a page out of another culture's book? Many seniors are keen to share the knowledge and the experience that they've gained over the years. We must also understand that seniors and senior members of society still have so much more to give to the world. In conclusion, Western attitudes towards age have both fueled and been fueled by the industries that exploit the fear of aging for profit. The emphasis placed on what is perceived to be the beauty of youth and the ugliness of aging have been demonstrated to impact the health of America's aging population. Beyond legislation, on a micro level, it is our duty to change the way that we view our own life cycles. We must understand that the constant pursuit of youth is not paramount to fulfillment, and that it only serves to alienate rather than honor those who have come before us. There are major demographic changes on the horizon. As the birth rates drop across the Western world and people live longer than ever, for the first time in U.S. history, the number of adults is expected to exceed the number of children by 2034. Our world is changing. Let us change with it. The United States was founded on the principle of being an exclusive society. And while it hasn't always been that way in practice, the ideal has always remained. Therefore, we owe the senior members of our society respect and acknowledgement so that they are comfortable enough to participate in our society the same way that we do, so that they don't feel as though we've left them behind and forgotten about them as we've moved on. Rather, we are living alongside them, so that they understand that their years of wisdom, experience, and foresight makes their input just as valuable as ours. It's time for our culture to reflect this. It's time for our healthcare system to reflect this, and it's time for our nation to reflect this. My name is Olafiola Wasogo, and this completes my message.